this week I have one more encore discussion with an amazing and brilliant dog mom that you are going to be so inspired by. And this is an example of how profoundly your relationship and your life with your reactive or sensitive or difficult dog can change by committing to deeply listening with an open heart. Oh, this is one of my favorites. You are going to absolutely love this. Take notes. You might think that you are already listening to your dog, but listening isn't what you think it is. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Well, hello, Kathy Kowalik here, and I have got something very special for you today. I'm going to share with you an interview that I did with one of our amazing and brilliant Partners Academy members, Steph Taleb, and we had an amazing conversation about what really listening to your dog looks like in real life and how she used to think she was listening. And once she opened up her mind and opened up her heart to what partnership actually is, holy smokes, things really changed for Steph and her reactive dog. So I think you're really going to love this, Steph. We really dive into some deep details about her journey and how things went and the ups and the downs. So I believe you will love this interview. I know I did. And enjoy, take some notes, and I will see you on the other side. Hi, Steph.
Hi, how are you?
Wow. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just going to turn up my microphone a bit. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. So thanks for coming on with us. So we're going to talk about like metal on metal, heavy metal, right?
Heavy metal. No
Heavy
kidding.
metal. Let's get the guitars out and the drums, right? So how long have you been in BPA? It seems like a really long time because you're just like a fixture. Like it's just.
Yeah, it actually has. So I actually looked it up before I came here today because in my mind, I have certain timelines for things. And so for BPA, it's been like 2 years, but I actually joined September 2018. So I'll be coming up on my 3rd anniversary this September.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it's been a while.
Amazing. It has. It's so good. And it's always, for me, it's always such a delight to like get on a coaching call and see your smiling face. And so we've been through a lot together, haven't we?
We have been through a lot, Kathy. We really have. Yeah.
Tell us about it. Tell us where we started and how things were with you and Pau, and then give us a bit of a backstory, and then where we are, and then we'll you can pull out some things that helped you get here.
Yeah, sure. So we got Pau shortly after our last dog, Bug, had passed away, and we were still really in mourning, and it was very sad. And she was our perfect dog, if there is such a thing. But we thought, they're all perfect. So I picked Pau from a litter. She came from a good place, nice people. But she was the dog in the litter that literally, when all the puppies came running to us, she stopped halfway. And when she saw it was more than just the people from the farm, she ran the other way. Literally hightailed it the other way, didn't want anything to do with me. And I stood there and talked with the woman and kind of pet the other puppies. But from looking at the pictures before I went, she was the one that I wanted because she was so unique looking. So even though she didn't want anything to do with me, she was always, I called her reserved. I said, well, it's good that she's reserved. You know, I don't really like a dog that's constantly jumping and licking. But I didn't realize how different of a personality she had. So, you know, I brought this little puppy home that didn't want to meet anybody. You know, everyone wants to see the new puppy, and they assume the new puppy's going to want to run up to them and lick them. And everyone, like, she would just nothing to do with them, would cower, you know, would just try to shut down, like just kind of go into herself. So I recognized early on that she had a very different personality. Um, and at first, that was me trying really hard to bring her out of her shell, to expose her to lots of new things, all the things that we hear about, right? Lots of socialization, you know, like desensitize them to things that they're afraid of, counter condition, all of those things with her. And that's what I did in the beginning, thinking that that would help her. And it didn't. It obviously it didn't help at all. And it actually grew into, as she got older and kind of, you know, into her young teen years, when she started to be able to express herself more, it started coming out as reactivity. And I know now so much more that it's because I wasn't listening to her. She was really trying to advocate for herself the whole time before that, but I wasn't listening. Yeah. And so then once the reactivity started, you know, I tried anything and everything as long as it was positive. Um, you know, again, like I said, counter conditioning, desensitizing, this and that, trying a few things that weren't so nice that people had said, well, it's because of her breed. She's a livestock guarding breed. You know, she's stubborn. It's because she's stubborn. You're not being firm enough with her. So then my firm went too firm because I equated firm leadership with being, you know, very stern and commanding. Like, none of those things were working. I tried games training, which is very high energy, you know, and constantly popping treats. And oh my gosh, you know, I'm like, watch me, you know, and you put the treat. Oh my gosh, right? And like she would do it. And I was like, well, it's great that she's so food motivated. My dog is very food motivated. But again, now I can see she was frantic. Like my energy, she's a very sensitive dog. And I didn't know that. And all of my high energy training and even the games and everything that was supposed to be positive, that was stressing her out like crazy. You know, like we couldn't do anything without me trying to like pump her up and you know, get her going and all those things, and firing treats at her, and she would take them. But again, now I see she would take them kind of with that kind of quick, you know, like she wasn't taking it because it was enjoyable. It was just this bad routine we'd gotten into. um yeah, so we were really stuck, and I knew it wasn't working, and I knew it wasn't right, and I knew she wasn't happy, and I knew I was very unhappy with myself and unfortunately with her. I didn't know how to fix it. So I would just be on the internet for hours just trying to search something different. And I don't know, one night I just was like, I just can't figure it out. But I searched, like I put together holistic with dog training. And then I can't remember if it was your Facebook or something popped up about you. And that's how I found you, and something that was so very different than anything else I had tried. Yeah.
You know, something that you said, I think it might be interesting to explore if you're game for it. When, like, we could say, and this is what we're thinking, listening to our dogs, right? So, and let's look at it from the perspective of what you were doing with the training and the counter conditioning and the games training and all that, right? We could say that legit that you were listening to your dog. Like you were noticing how she was responding to things. You were noticing when she was happy and when she was not so happy. You were noticing when you needed to up your energy or lower your energy, or change your cookies to better cookie, like, you know what I mean? So from that perspective, and this is where a lot of people, I see this all the time when BPs come in, especially, and from the like hundreds of messages and emails that I get all like every day, or not hundreds every day, but like I get messages every day, and there's many hundreds, thousands, I don't even know, where legitimately someone saying, I listened to your podcast or I read your blog article and I am listening to my dog. We do have trust. We do have a good relationship, a great partnership, ... But she's reactive. She pulls in lunges. She barks at everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so when we pull out that one piece of listening, knowing what you know now, because now you are listening, what's the difference? Because I think that might be useful for someone that's like, I am listening to my dog, Can you speak to that from your perspective?
Yeah, it's an interesting question for sure, because you're right. So many of us that come here, I mean, we all have the best of intentions with our dogs and think
Right.
that we're doing right. We love our dogs.
Totally.
Um, what it feels like now to listen to her than before is that it's a flow between us. It's a gentle flow of energy between us that is organic. Um, I mean, now it almost seems innate. It wasn't before. Um, it's something that I don't have to try hard to do. Whereas before, I was trying very hard to try to listen to her and try to figure her out. And it was more surface. It felt more surface, I guess, what I was doing before, even though I thought it was right. Whereas now that I've moved away from that, with a lot of ups and downs, like unfortunately, like I'm not one of your students that, got it right away. My journey was, an up and down, which is fine for me. But now,
Totally.
now seeing the difference, yeah, it's softer, it's natural, it's mutual, it's respectful. It's all of these things that are feelings that flow back and forth between us, as opposed to just surface observations or physical things that are happening between us. That is how I can
Mm.
describe it, I guess. I don't know if that
Hmm.
resonates with anyone, but it's just something very different, it's yeah, it's and it feels so much better. So even though before we'd celebrate, I would celebrate if, okay, we're on a walk, I see another dog. Okay, watch me. Okay, oh, get the food, get the food. Oh, distract her, you know what I mean? And I'm kind of high
Mm.
frantic energy and she is. And I'd celebrate after because we did it, we did the thing, but it was all just like moments, like separate moments of things that kept it was exhausting. It always had to be that moment again, like reliving it just to
Hmm.
to make it through. Whereas now it just, I keep using the word flow, but that's the best word I can describe it.
Yeah.
It's different. It's very gentle and sincere.
Mm.
It's very relationship. Before we had a relationship, but it was different. It was like teacher student relationship or something, and now it's partnership relationship.
Yeah, more like top down.
Yeah,
And so maybe we're listening for clues for how we can get our dog to do something that we want them to do
yeah,
versus listening for what we can do together.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I was always trying to fix her for so long. I was trying to fix her, thinking that I was doing right by her.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
but it's totally not what I actually wanted to do. That's what my head was telling me to do, but my heart, and that's what led me to you. And even though at first, like my heart felt what you were trying to communicate immediately,
Yeah.
but my head and what you call the lizard brain ugh, so stubborn, right? Because it wasn't any, I didn't understand. I wanted metal, which if everyone did the thing, metal secondary water, but metal first. I wanted the 3 steps, the 1, 2, 3, or the ABC that I could practice and make perfect because I needed to be perfect to do these things. And that's just not what it is at all. And that's not how you build a relationship with a being. You know what I mean? Like I would never do that with my husband or my best friend. Why the heck was I doing it with my dog? I don't know, but now that I know
Because
better,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. I mean we don't know that there's a thing, a different thing. How do we know? And
Yeah.
if we've never heard or talked or been taught it, how do we know?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing. It's I mean that it really strikes me because everyone that connects with Dancing Hearts and Brilliant Partners Academy, they connect because their heart is in the right place, and everyone is doing everything that they can to do right by their dogs. It's not like anyone's like a slacker or doesn't care, or like no one, not even remotely. It's like the polar opposite of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the stress and the overwhelm comes from, is because we're trying to do everything that we know, that we've been told, that we've researched, that we've whatever, and it's just not the thing. Even if our dog is well behaved, right? Because some of our BPs come in like, I don't have any issues with my dog, but yet we know, right? There's something missing. There's something that is different and available and possible. And it's like we see like a little light. I see that light, and I'm attracted to that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, and like I said, I immediately was attracted to it, just how you said, but I didn't join the first time around, and I can't remember if we've talked about this before, probably.
I don't think so. I don't
But
think so.
so yeah, so I came into the spring. So I guess this session now, right, the free session, similar to this experience that we're having this week, and I did it, and again, like it spoke to me. I knew the feelings. Like I'm a very deep feeling person, but because it wasn't in my at the time, I didn't feel it was practical enough for me because again, I wanted the clear steps of training. I just didn't commit. First time I let it go by, and I kept for the next whatever that is, 6 months or however long, 4 months, doing other things. And then by September, when the next one came around, I thought, well, this is silly. You know what I mean? And I have to just trust that there is something to this. I mean, what you're doing is truly groundbreaking, and I mean that sincerely, but it's new to so many people that it's not mainstream yet. And so that mainstream really had my brain, right? I'm like, this isn't anything I've heard before. Therefore I don't know that it will work. But when I finally gave into that and joined, you know, things started to happen. Things started to happen. And there's nothing wrong with playing games. There's nothing wrong with all of that. That's not what we're saying. It's just, especially if you have a sensitive dog, especially if you're trying to evolve with your dog and make a walk something that is, for example, a walk truly enjoyable, we need to do that together, and we need to get past just a buffer game or something like that. Games are for true enjoyment in the yard when we're feeling free and happy, not when we're trying to, achieve
using them as coercion tools instead of enjoyable experiences. That's something we do together.
Yeah.
It's just different, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how are things with you and Pal these days?
Amazing. And it's, I can't, it's, I posted about it a little while ago in our academy group, which not everyone is a part of yet, but hopefully will be, because they really should be. Amazing to me now doesn't mean perfect. Like my idea of what perfect was, of having a perfect dog, of trying to make Pal perfect, doesn't even exist anymore. I can't even believe I used to think of it that way. We have so many wonderful connections when we're out. We are able to maneuver our way sometimes through things that are still hard for us, but we trust each other and we can get through them. But there are so few of those things happening now because it's just flowing between us more and more often all the time. So it feels light. It feels, I'm aware. I almost feel like I've woken up, you know, in a sense, like when we're on a walk, it's it's me and her. It's not me thinking, oh no, there comes the other dog. And if I do see the other dog because I can see, um, I make sure my energy is right back to us. And that's it's so easy, but it doesn't seem easy in the beginning, right? But now
Right.
that I can see the difference, so things for us are that I can see so much more that she trusts me. I feel much more confident in how I can help support her when I need to. Um, Her barking, like she can regulate her own barking so much more than she ever could. So in the yard, at the fence, if someone comes to the door, because I've stopped trying to do the on your bed, go to your bed and wait for them where you can't see them and be silent because that's what you should be doing as a guarding breed. No, but she knows now what I have, said to her, okay, as a partner, sure, you can give him a couple barks, that's your job, but then I'm here to take over. And that's fine. And that's all it is. It's not me getting frustrated. Oh my God, she's barking again. It's not her getting frantic and wound up because she can feel I am. It's just self regulating and regulating between us that so many of the things that used to bug me before don't even bug me because they don't exist. But I didn't train them, they just ceased to exist.
I know. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
I can remember back in the day having doing helping you with some coaching and you saying she doesn't want to do the dance invitation. I can't even do the dance invitation. And this is when you were first starting to change how you were thinking about it, right? And you're like I can't. She doesn't want me. She doesn't want my food. She doesn't want me she won't let me invite her. She doesn't respond to my invitations. We just suck.
yeah. Oh yeah. So many times I thought that. So many times I thought that. Um, Once I took that off of my shoulders and off of her shoulders, because I realized I'm not trying to make her compliant with anything.
Right.
Um, we're coming together as two beings that love each other. Once I got rid of that kind of pressure and that stress of compliance,
Yeah.
then she wanted to come to me because I wasn't putting out that energy of you'd better come to me. Or, if I wasn't like that kind of stern energy, my way up here game player energy of come on, come to me. When she's such a sensitive soul, she prefers not to have that. She prefers to just have, hey, come here, love. That's all she needs, you know?
Right.
So understanding that that's what she needs as a sensitive dog.
Mm-hmm.
Man, she must feel so much better. She must be like, thank God you finally figured that out. Like, I've only been trying to tell you since you met me when I was 8 weeks old, but
Yeah. Yeah.
mm,
Well, it's the difference between a genuine invitation and connection and a command.
yeah,
Right? Because even if you were happy and energetic and delightfully, encouraging to
mhm,
her to come to you, you still expected her to come to you.
yeah, yeah,
And if she didn't, you took it to mean something that it didn't mean.
yes, yeah, for
And
sure.
that's where the pressure came in. Like it's not pressure so much as outward thinking pressure. It's just subliminal pressure almost that where we don't think about it like this, but we're underneath the surface expecting compliance. Even when we don't think
Yes,
about it that way, even when we're being really happy and encouraging and positive, we still
mhm,
expect to get what we want. And
yeah,
just taking that out of the picture by shifting into being genuine and authentic with our dogs, like you said, they want to come. Just like we do, right? If we know that someone expects us to do a thing because they want us to do a thing, it's a different experience for us, right?
Yeah, so much so wholeheartedly so that it might sound almost like it's not real, or it might sound too good to be true or something as we're talking about it. And
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about it, so I probably, I get really excited about it, but it feels so much better. A million times over, her, coming over to me because she's accepted my invitation rather than because I have a treat by my face to you know what I mean, to be like, come here. It's I can't compare it. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So she's a big girl. I mean, how much she's
80 pounds.
big. Yeah. So she's big.
Yeah.
And so back a while back when you were trying to walk her, I mean, you wanted her to have exercise, you wanted her to, have an enriched life where she could smell and go places, whatever. And it was a bit of a nightmare for both of you, where you weren't together, when you tried to go for walks.
No, not at all.
And
And she wasn't enjoying it. And again, I can see all of this now that she wasn't
Mhm.
enjoying it, but I thought it was because she was just so hyped up and needed it, right? But it's really that she needed the opposite. She didn't need that, that walk through the neighborhood that she didn't feel confident to do because I wasn't supporting her. She needed us to be together, maybe in the house and playing some games together, or, taking her by car the 2 blocks to her best friend's house, who has a large backyard that is like protected, whereas our yard is
Yeah.
exposed. She needed different things than what I thought she needed at first, for sure. I used to exercise her like crazy because she's a big dog, like you said. She didn't need nearly that amount of exercise. We'd go out for, a 7K hike, 7 kilometer, I don't know, whatever, 5 miles is that, or something like that. When
Something
she
like
was
that.
5 months old, like too young to be doing that, but just because I
Oh,
thought
wow.
she needed it because she was just so kind of all the
Yeah.
time. We'd come home, I'd be passed out. I think, thank God she's finally going to sleep. She'd sleep for 20 minutes and then be up again because I had her cortisol continually raised. I never let my poor dog's cortisol go down. So her stress buckets, which is a term we use, they were constantly overflowing for, oh my gosh, like what, a year or something before, I
Yeah.
came to you, or more. That takes a toll. I mean, it's our systems are very similar. A human's body and a dog's body. Can you imagine if you were in your higher stress state for a year? I mean, a lot of us have had a very tough year, right? That's ugh, what I
Yeah.
wasn't
And
doing for
and not many of us have enjoyed it either, right?
no, exactly, right? But we've all tried to seek things, meditation and yoga and, things like that. But I wasn't giving my dog that option. I was just giving
No.
her, oh, you must need more. You must need more exercise. So she never had that chance to lower her cortisol. Um, so yeah,
And
just
it's a spiral that many of us get into. It's like, well, my dog needs, she's not satisfied.
mm,
Clearly she needs more play, more games, more exercise, more walks, more whatever, right? That's the thinking. And it gets
yeah.
worse and worse, right?
Yeah, yeah. And even now, I mean, so her best friend Gertie, who lives in the neighborhood, they met when they were, I don't know, I think 5 and 6 months old, have been playing, 3 days or more a week ever since then. When they were younger, we'd meet 4 or 5 days a week for an hour to an hour and a half. And as soon as they stopped running, both Liz and I would be like, hey, come on, get going, get going. Like we would make them start playing again because we wanted them to be exhausted because we thought that's what you should do. Now, as they've gotten older and older, and I've learned more from you, I've dialed in that they only need like 20 minutes of like a hard play. That's all
Hmm.
they need. And then they can relax a bit. We'll chat a bit, but then I go on my way. We don't do these hour-long plays of trying to get them revved up over and over. It's, and every dog is different. That's just my example. But
Yeah.
yeah, she definitely didn't need all that I was trying to give her, thinking that that's what she needed to relax.
Right. And now you walk there.
now we walk there. We don't have to
No
drive.
more. You don't have to drive in the car
Yep.
to get there anymore.
Yeah. So the reason I drove too, just to let people know, is because I wasn't, I was not walking her on leash because that was too stressful for her. So that's why I would get in the car and drive over with her, which some people might, it sounds silly, but that's why. Because if you're going to do it, you need to really commit to it,
Right.
make it work. And that's, yeah. Yeah, no, we walked there. No problem. The other day, I didn't realize we were out for a walk before we got there, and it had almost been an hour's worth of walking, and we were both just enjoying it so much. And then we went
Wow.
over, but it was fine because we were both in the green zone the whole time, and then she had a play, and that didn't over arouse her because she hadn't been over aroused from the walk. But that just happened. I don't even know. Look at that. We walked for almost an hour, and both of us were wanting to do it because we were safe, calm, and happy.
Yeah, and that's how it goes, right? It's such an organic expansion of life when we focus on the main thing, which is building trust and safe, calm, and happy, and being that, the facilitator of that, and listening to what our dogs need in a way that isn't, connected to training. You know what I mean? It's a different way of listening. So we have things like you've probably practiced walking together in partnership where it was easy, and you practiced walking to your friend's house when it was easy, right? When there was a bunch of dogs and people and bikes and kids out, right? And so we just make different decisions, right? And that's what builds the trust. And the more trust we have, the easier those things get, and the more we can do them, and the longer, and then next thing you know, you're going for an hour walk, and your formerly sensitive, reactive dog is enjoying the whole time, no matter what's going on around.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the thing I also learned, though, and that I did have to learn through my own journey, is that when I would push too far, too fast, I was, that was me wanting to get things perfect right away. And, I'd stop doing leash walks for a little while, but it really wasn't long enough. And I'd say, oh, let's go try it again. um, you know, testing her, but not really meaning to test her. And then I'd nope. So stop leash walks for a while, go again. Whereas if I had just, given it a good long while and just, listened, I guess, more to what was happening in the beginning, it would have made a difference. But it doesn't matter because it was still, our journey was, it had to be what it was. Right. So it took as long as it took, and that what it needed to take. And I can't, it's so much different today and now, and just how I feel and how she feels, that, it was worth it. And it's not going to ever go back, which is the cool thing too, like it just happens and it flows, and I know how to support her. I'm not forgetting and then having to go back and try to remember it again. It's just there now, and it just is.
I think you've already well articulated it, but I guess just as a, kind of as a closing the conversation, what would you say to someone that's thinking like you used to think, like, well, like you did that first time, like, I don't know, this doesn't sound formulaic enough for me. This doesn't sound tangible enough for me. I mean, any final words of wisdom you could say in that regard for those that are maybe metal or, or thinking, or just maybe just really confirmed, with dog trainers, right? Which we all are, you know what I mean? And so it makes us a bit afraid to, like, we identify, like, it's our part of our identity. Like, part of my identity was as a positive, and it still is, right? Part of my identity is as a positive dog trainer, because anything that I want to train my dogs to do, it's going to be done positively, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it can be difficult, it could be awkward, it could be scary to think about losing something that we identify strongly with. And it's not really a matter of losing it, though, is it?
It's not. And I think, yeah, like I said, because it's something that we're not as familiar with, um, you know, a lot of us don't do well with things that aren't mainstream. And if you've had a dog before, as you know, many of us
Mm,
have, you're used, what you did worked for the last 20 years.
mm,
Um, it's being open-minded enough, I think, to try to expand yourself in some way. And if you're here, your heart brought you here. If you've been in this challenge this week, your heart brought you to that challenge. So if your head is still fighting that, just I guess try to understand that that is natural and that we've all been there. Um,
mm,
but that really, when you allow for that room to try something new and try something that maybe, isn't something we've done or isn't as popular or however you want to say it, if you make that room, it's it feels really special. It feels like
mm.
something I've never had before with an animal. Um, Truly, like that I have had it before, but not to this level because I just didn't know this level existed. So I guess my message is again, like, you're here because your heart brought you here. So just open your mind to that. Open your mind to that. It's, you don't have anything to lose. This is not going to hurt your dog in any way. It's only going to make things better. Um, so open your mind, listen to your heart.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us and share your story and your wise words. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.